evening. I'd like to call the special meeting of the City of La Habra Heights City Council, November 12th, 2024, to order. Roll call, Mr. Pespiza.
Here.
Mr. Bergman.
Here.
Mr. Zazula.
Here.
Engelhardt is here, and Mr. Laherty is excused. Mr. Bergman, would you lead us in the flag salute? Are there any presentations, commendations, or proclamations?
None today.
Okay. For public comment, I have one public comment which deals with item 18, and I think we'll move item 18 forward. And Mr. Brooks, do you want to let the city manager? Let's do 18, and then you can have your comment as part of it. Would that?
However you want to do it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item before you tonight relates to the purchase of a Lucas chest compression system and acceptance of a donation from the City of La Habra Heights Improvement Association and the Los Compadres. I'm going to hand it over to Chief Martin and Captain Jorgensen to provide a little more information related to the Lucas machine and the need for it and the good work that it will do to help our residents.
My name is Ryan Jorgensen. I'm a fire captain with the La Habra Heights Fire Department as well as the paramedic coordinator. I'm here to present essentially our desire and need for the Lucas chest compression system. Essentially, CPR, also known as cardiopulmonary resuscitation, is really the foundation, the crux of what we do in an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest. And in out-of-hospital cardiac arrest, we essentially bring the emergency department to the patient. And what I mean by that is we provide advanced cardiovascular life support medications, advanced airway devices, a cardiac monitor defibrillator device, and also firefighters and additional paramedic staff to provide manual CPR. Now, the difference between manual CPR and what we're requesting, which is the Lucas chest compression device, is it really comes down to specifications and statistics. So in terms of some statistics, it looks like from the research that I've done, our hands-only CPR really only delivers 20 to 30% of blood flow to perfuse the brain. Right now, we're all perfusing at 100%, and the strongest person on earth can only perfuse up to no more than 30% while doing hands-only compressions, versus a Lucas device, which increases that to 60% for a total of 90% effectiveness in terms of total brain perfusion. That being said, out of hospital survivability rates, we call ROSC, or also known as a return of spontaneous circulation, that's what we refer to as getting pulses back, is up to 41% through randomized trial studies. As opposed to 26% with just hands-only CPR. Essentially, some of my constituents in the field have noted that this device in and of itself is an absolute game changer in our industry. We are also one of the few fire departments in California, let alone North America, that does not have a device like this or this device in and of itself. That being said, what it also does is it provides fewer interruptions in CPR because people get tired and machines don't. This machine meets all recommendations, actually exceeds recommendations set forth by the American Heart Association. American Heart Association, as also known as AHA, essentially stipulates that we need to be providing chest compression depth at 1.8 to 2.1 inches. And as a human being, it's really hard, if not impossible, to really target that range of depth in every patient we come across. So what this software does is it auto-adjusts based off patient's weight. So once we set the device, hook it up, a piston comes down, automatically, the suction cup around the piston will automatically figure out, for lack of a better term, what rate of depth as well as rate of compression this patient needs. So essentially what I'm getting at is this fire department deserves a device like this. Outside of that, this is also going to be done in conjunction with La Habra Heights Fire Department paramedics with a team-focused approach to provide all advanced cardiac life support, or what we refer to as ACLS, interventions concurrent with the Lucas device in and of itself. I'm open for any questions.
So before you start, I'd like to add, one of the best qualities of this machine, this product, is that it provides total compression 100% of the time. When we're doing it with just a human element, there's a time where you have to stop the compressions, load the patient onto the gurney, and then get them in the ambulance and transport. This machine is like a Terminator. It doesn't stop. It keeps functioning, it keeps going. It's providing all the ventilations for the patient and the compressions that's required to keep them alive. So it's a very good success rate, and it's a very good quality to have. It never stops working, no matter how you move the patient or position the patient. That's one of the, when you say, Cap, that's one of the good qualities of this machine.
I would say so, yes,
So
sir.
yes, if you have any questions, please address it to
Are there any questions of staff from the council?
So I was looking at the contract with I guess it's Stryker Lucas. Is that who the company is?
That's correct, sir.
Yeah. So I don't see a training component to this. So how do we get our personnel trained on this? Do they come out and do it as part of the contract, or do we need to include some money for training?
No, sir. So I actually did reach out to our representative and ask him that very question. He did send me an amended quote, and under the comment section that I'm reading, it reads, training is included with purchase. So what I did was after reaching out to him, I made sure, I confirmed that there will be no additional cost to the city of La Habra Heights for any training whatsoever. Now, they will come out and answer your question. Councilmember Pispisa, they will come out and they will provide on-site training at will.
Okay, so we'll get all of our crews trained when we have enough new people to come back out and train again as part of like an ongoing, like continuing education type thing with this device?
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
All
at no cost to our department. They're also going to provide train the trainer for the captains.
Great, okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions by council? Okay, open to public comment. Mr. Brooks?
Thank you, Mayor. Rick Brooks, Skyline Drive. This evening, I'm actually here to speak as the Vice President of the La Habra Heights Improvement Association and to encourage you all to approve item 18 on the agenda to purchase this. For the community, it might be a little confusing, so I just thought I would take a minute and try to explain how we got where we're at right now. La Habra Heights Improvement Association is an independent 501c3 charity, all volunteer staff, and we just put on the Halloween event. We organized the community yard sale. We do music in the park. We do the Easter egg hunt. And on December 7th, we'll have Morning with Santa at the gym. So if anybody wants to come down and bring their kids or grandkids and get a picture with Santa, we'll be doing that event. We also do the Heights Life magazine. But what a lot of people don't know is that we do a lot for the city that's not like widely broadcasted. The gazebo at the park, the Improvement Association built and has maintained over the years. A couple years ago, we bought a new PA system for the horse arena that was needed for the horse shows. We've painted the fence out there. The reader sign, we put that up. We paid and funded that. Last year, we did all the gym doors and replaced all the gym doors and had them all painted. And this year, we've made a couple of donations to the fire department on some just needed items that they needed. But in the course of that conversation said, what could you really use? And they said two things, a new building and this CPR machine. And as much as I would really like to have taken on the new building, it was beyond our control. But the CPR machine, we said, let's take this on and let's raise the funds for the city so that we can get this done. Originally, we were going to just reach out for donations from the city and try to monitor that, but this year, thanks to all our premium members and our sponsors of their different events, we had the funding in there to say we could do half through the Improvement Association. We could afford to pay for half if we could raise the other half. So the next week, I also happened to be on the board of another charity group called Los Compadres, and this is a La Habra Heights charity in that the members donate money every year, goes into a big fund, and we give scholarships to La Habra Heights students that are graduating that excel in academic achievement, among other things. So I went to that group and said, look, I don't want to take anything away from the scholarship fund, but this is a really good cause. We could really use this, and ask the members if they could step up. And they did. They raised their hand, 16, 17 of them, for $1,000 apiece to get the other half. So I'm very proud of them. And so we have the funding. And so really the best way the transaction could work after working with Rafferty is for the city to buy it rather than us buying it and donating it to you. And we're just going to reimburse the city. So that way, anything in the future, it's a city's machine, and we're going to donate the $32,654.36 that it's going to take to purchase this device. So anyway, I want to thank everybody who stepped up and made these donations. We are going to keep the fire department donations going so that anybody else, residents that may want to contribute, will get so much money, and we'll work with the fire department and help them on other items, whether it's something that they need for firefighting or whether it's just for the creature comforts of what they need to do. We understand that the city has a very limited budget when it comes to the fire department, and the La Habra Heights Improvement Association wants to do everything they can to support the city and support the fire department. Lastly, I would like to say, during this transaction, I've had the opportunity to work directly with Chief Jorgensen over there, and I have to say he's extremely professional. It's been a pleasure to deal with. I asked one of the same questions that Mr. Pasisa just did about the training, about warranty. He was right on it. He found all the answers and got right back to us, because I wanted to make sure that whatever money we raise and we donate is going to cover the whole thing and there's no hidden costs. And I think it's been pretty thorough. He's done an excellent job, and he's a keeper, in my opinion. So anyway, thank you very much. If you have any questions about the Improvement Association or how that's going to work, I'll be here for a few minutes if you want to ask any questions. But other than that, thank you, and I hope you all vote for it and get it handled this evening. Okay?
Thank you. Thank the Improvement Association, and thanks Los Compadres.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's not always easy to coordinate something like this and or to ask friends for money. So Rick is proven to be pretty efficient at both, because I think you exceeded your target when it came to getting the funds out of a group of folks that are sometimes can be a little frugal. So thank you, Rick.
I'll pull it back in. May I have a motion? Is there any more discussion? May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to move approval to purchase the Lucas chest compression system.
Second.
I think we need a little more in the motion, don't we? Or accepting the donation and...
I'll accept the donation, and we need to do a future little recognition for, I guess, the group, too.
And to authorize the city manager to sign the PO, right?
Your motion also includes authorizing the city
Yes,
manager?
yes.
Okay, all right. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bergman?
Yes.
Englehart's a yes. Pespisa?
Yes.
And Mr. Zazula?
Yes.
And thank you very much. Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Rick. And we got senior citizens here, so this will be a good piece of
Well,
equipment.
may it never be used.
Well, okay. All right, getting back in order here. Let's see. Committee comments. Any committee comments? Any city council comments?
So, Chief Martin stopped me if you're going to go into the strike team effort. Yes. You will in your report? Okay, I just wanted to recognize the fire department and their role they played. I actually saw your crew on Channel 5, I think it was Sunday morning.
Twice.
So very, very proud of our firefighters, so I'll wait till the chief's segment on that. That's all I had.
Administrative report, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're going to have a hard act to follow here.
I know, I know. Tonight, just a real brief comment, just a quick update. There was an election that was held last week. And so from there, we were waiting for the county to certify votes. They continued the votes as they finished doing vote by mail. The numbers continue to come in from the county. So the website that the county does post continues to go up as the counts continue to get voted. Hopefully in the very, very near future here, we will have a certification from the county on the vote count, which obviously included election of 2 council members. So there are currently 3 candidates that are running. There are 2 individuals that are in the lead at the moment, and once those votes are certified, we'll get appointed as city council members. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. City attorney.
No report and nothing to report out of closed session. That is all.
Community development report.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Fortunately, sorry, we've been a little bit busy. I did not provide you a community development report for this meeting. At the moment, we will continue to work on to get it updated. But we have been working very diligently. We have seen a large increase in the amount of inspections we've had recently. So we've had to add a few additional days. So Michael has actually worked a few Fridays to just keep up with the demand on inspection. So as we see more permits going out, it's also an effect of the code enforcement process as well. We're seeing in addition to inspections that go along with it. And at the same time, we have been working related to the housing element. So this past Friday, we have made a revision to our draft housing element. That has been updated. It is posted on the city's website. So if you go on the city's website, there's a dedicated housing element update page where you can find all of our previous drafts and the most current draft of the housing element there on that page. We also have a copy here at City Hall if you'd like to come in and take a look at the hard copy of it from there. It's out for a 30-day review comment right now, so we will be taking comments, and then after that time, we will take any comments that we receive. We will be working with our consultant to incorporate those comments into the housing element, and then moving it. Our City Council's January meeting, we'll be holding a public hearing on the draft version of the housing element. So if you do have some questions about it, please feel free to reach out to us here at staff. Give us a call, area code 562-694-6302 from there. Or if you want to send an email, you can email it to cdd@lhhcity.org. Is another way you can reach out and provide comments, along with hand delivering and or mailing comments here to City Hall for that. So if anybody has any questions, happy to answer.
Any questions? Fire chief's report.
Thank you. So this reporting period, we've seen 48 incidents, which is pretty normal for this time of year. We've had an uptick in non-reportable incidents, and I'm working on an algorithm so that we can respond non-emergency with one of our other vehicles and not take away the medic engine to something like an investigation where our paramedics would be tied up. That's not necessary, and we have ample staffing now to do that. I just have to work out the logistics and the algorithm and the computer system to make that happen. The brush clearance program is in full effect, and it's going along. We do have some Mount SAC technology interns that are assisting us with that, and the roadway clearance and tumbleweeds will continue to be a priority for the remainder of the season. As we get further into it, as you know now, there's no longer a brush season. It's year-round. If you look at all the fires that we had, they were outside the season. Normal season starts September and ends sometime in January, and that's not the case anymore. We're pretty much depending on the rains and stuff like that. So as far as that program, we are continuing with those efforts, and we'll be diligent in with the brush clearance program. Are we ready? So I want to report to you about our real exciting moment. We have our fire engine. So there it is right there. It's still wrapped. This is in October. And you see that it's brand new. 10/25 is the date. That's the panel. So then we go into 11/2, and we're now at the final stages. So as you go through, you're looking at the compartments, and there's the gauges on the pierce. Very exciting to see this thing come to fruition, come to a conclusion. And we will be, and there it is sitting outside ready for final inspection. Final inspection is going to be December the 2nd through the 5th. The 3 members from the La Habra Heights Fire Department will be going to Bradenton, Florida for the final inspection. And as soon as that passes and we okay it, we'll put some stenciling on there, some decals, and it'll officially be a La Habra Heights vehicle. And then we'll just wait to see how long it'll take them to get it to us. It'll come to Corona, California, and then we'll be able to take charge of it. We do have everything in place except for the radios. We are having a little bit of a delay in getting an appointment to get the radios put into this vehicle. I'm trying to reach out to some of the other departments to see if they can assist us with that. So that's the report on the fire engine. It's complete. It's ready for final inspection, and that'll happen, like I said, this first week in December. We're very fortunate. This past Wednesday, the mountain fire broke out in Ventura. We sent an engine to be part of the XLE Strike Team 1280A. They left here at about 2:30. By the time they got there, they were part of a small group of fire departments that were already out there fighting fire. They worked diligently through Wednesday through Sunday, with some periods of time off, but all in all, they were everyone was very pleased with La Habra Heights. And it's amazing how we stand out. Like I've said all along, everywhere I go, somebody will come up to us and say, "Oh, I'm from La Habra Heights." So they encountered that, and they got some good work in, and they got some good compliments. And we were actually featured on Channel 5 News twice, early on, and then Sunday they actually did an interview. So I'm very proud of our guys doing work out there, and it looks like it's going to continue, and my hope is that we can have a strike team always available to send out of the city. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Chief
I think the other notable event was the Shabaram fire.
I'm sorry?
The Shabaram fire.
This one?
The fire in Shabaram Park. I think it was about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, yes, yes.
Did we get any feedback from the county? I know that they used the heli hydrant for the first time.
Yes, I think There was a little bit of confusion because they thought that that thing was filled with water all the time, but we don't keep it full all the time for various reasons. Debris gets in there, and then the water will become stagnant, and so we empty it out. But what we're doing now is every time there's a red flag warning, we're going to fill it and have it full. So the mistake that they made in that they thought it was full. So when they came, it was maybe a quarter full. So that was not enough water for them to take a couple dips out. But we fixed that. We already talked to the air operations with LA County, and we told them that we would keep it full all the time. And we've tested it several times, and it's working 100% now.
Okay.
Any other questions? I thought the fire engine was coming from Wisconsin.
So did we. And we were surprised that it, so Pierce has two actual manufacturing sites.
Oh, okay.
One is in Wisconsin, and the other one is over, I don't know if you're familiar with Bradenton. It's kind of on the tip of right at Tampa Bay. So Sarasota's close by, Tampa Bay, of course, but it's right there on the opposite, on the inlet side of Florida.
Thank you, and thank you very much for all the reporting. Sheriff's Department report.
Good evening, Council. We had no residential burglaries. We had one vehicle burglary. We did have one significant event or incident regarding an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A handgun was used. This occurred on the 25th of last month on West Road. There was a dispute over a property line and some landscaping that took place between two neighbors. A firearm was used and evidence was collected. I spoke to the detective, Manjivar of the industry station, and he's going to put this file ready for the DA for prosecution. And that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions? On the consent calendar, items 9 through 12, does anyone want to pull any item? May I have a motion?
Move approval 9, 10, 11, and 12 of the consent calendar.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Pospiza?
Yes.
Mr. Zazula?
Yes.
Englehart's a yes, and Bergman?
Yes.
Okay. Going to item 13, protest hearing, unpaid brush clearance.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item before you tonight is the protest hearing for brush clearance abatement costs. The city every year declares weeds and other debris as fire hazards, and as that part of that inspection process through our brush clearance program. If owners fail to clear those weeds and brush in a certain amount of time periods and notices, so the city does go out for abatement. Before you tonight, we do have one property that has gone through abatement and is at the point of placing liens for that particular property. It's a property over on West Road. From that one, so tonight the recommendation would be for the City Council to overrule any protests offered during the protest hearing and adopt resolution number 2024-28, confirming the report of costs incurred by the city and authorizing the assessment as liens to be placed on the tax rolls effective November 12, 2024. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
A couple of questions. One, has there been any communications from the owner at all with the city?
Staff has reached out, the fire marshal has reached out several times to that particular property owner to have them do the work and or pay the liens, and so far they have not communicated with staff.
Okay, thank you.
Is this a repeat offender? In other words, have we had to do this in prior years?
Yes, this is one where we have done it a few times.
Are we tracking, I think I've asked this before, but are we tracking the total liens on this property to make sure that it's not exceeding the value of the property itself?
It is, and something that we're working on another program type process for brush clearance to sort of track those properties that are at that and or ones that are ready for tax sale to make sure that the county is actually putting those properties out to lien sale if it's at that point.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're tracking that, and that if we're at the point where we're getting close to the net value of that property, that we're working with the county to get those properties sold so that we can recoup
Yes.
our taxpayer money.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? May I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-28, a resolution of the City Council of the City of La Habra Heights, California, confirming a report of costs incurred in conjunction with the city's brush clearance program, confirming the assessments and liens set forth in such report, and directing that such assessments be collected on the property tax roll.
Second.
Mr. Zazula?
Yes.
Mr. Pospiza?
Yes.
Englehart's a yes, and Mr. Bergman?
Yes.
14, solid waste collection services update.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Item before you is an update on our transition through solid waste collection services. In the beginning of October, the city transitioned from Republic Services to Ware Disposal. And as part of that, they have been in the process of transitioning bins, carts, dumpsters, and people services through that. So at the moment, they are still in the process of completing the process of getting all of the carts exchanged out with everybody, and in the process of picking up the additional Republic carts that are out there. They have recently were just talking with us about where they're kind of at. The people that are on like Barrow or Burrow or Scout Service areas were scheduled to be completed as of the end of last week, and they're beginning another run through the community the beginning of this week to try to pick up any remaining Republic Services carts that are out there. There's still quite a few Republic carts that are sort of scattered all through the areas in the neighborhoods that are out there. So it's one of those things, if you still have your Republic carts, please make sure to put them out at the curb so we can make sure that Ware is out to be able to pick up those carts and get them collected and returned to Republic as part of their agreement with the Republic on that aspect of it. At the same time, we have been working through some of the billing components of it and a little bit of the back and forth over that. At our last meeting last month, we had looked at the way the people with dumpster service had their rates assessed as commercial. That has been resolved back to like a residential rate. So there are additional carts for yard waste and recycling will be charged at the household rate instead of a commercial rate, which is significantly cheaper, and they have been working quite a bit to get any of those remaining bills and people services adjusted and providing options as far as the number of carts that people may have if they're continuing with dumpster service, switching to a cart service, the different levels of scout or rollout service that they may need to try to work with residents as much as possible to adjust their bills and look at what works for the level of service that they need at that time. I think right now the biggest thing that we need to also focus on is just getting the carts picked up. So as we find out or are notified of areas that have carts, we've been working to relay that information over to Ware to get them to be able to pick up those carts as well. So that is our update for right now. We do have a couple of representatives from from Ware that are here. If you have any specific questions, they would probably be happy to address them for you.
Or I would invite them, do you want to say anything? Or just see if there's questions. The Ware people.
So I have questions.
Okay, well, we have a question.
So where do I begin? Let's talk about picking up bins. So for 6 weeks now, you've been telling people to leave their bins outside, yet for at least 2 weeks, just south of West Road, there was 2 Republic bins that have been laying on the side of the road. I gotta believe that someone from Ware leadership, your supervisor, has driven past those bins multiple times, and they haven't been picked up. They were still there tonight, just laying as blight alongside the road.
What's that location?
Just on Hacienda, just south of West Road.
Yeah, he's writing that down for us
As
right now.
As I drove here tonight, and 4 weeks ago when Jay was here, he told us that the only bins that were left were bins that were part of the borough service. I gotta believe that you don't do borough service up and down Hacienda. So when I drove to this meeting tonight, there was probably 4 or 5 dozen Republic bins placed alongside the road.
Okay.
So I mean, the problem that we're gonna have now is we're 6 weeks into this, and people are tired of, I mean, there's not, you know, as you know, we have narrow streets. People have left the Republic bins out. I see them on every narrow road. They're not getting picked up, so now they're getting moved back behind fences and gates. And we're gonna have a hard time now getting all these bins out of the city because you guys aren't meeting your timeline that you established with citizens and that we published in the initial materials, was that all the bins would be picked up by the end of October.
Correct.
So what's the, can you, so I can tell people and get on social media and tell everyone that's out there complaining about what is the plan to get the bins picked up?
The status of getting the bins picked up is having the bins to be able to replace them. So with the borough services, we're doing exchanges with them right now, and we have ordered more bins to be able to accommodate that because we weren't given accurate information from Republic. We actually were running out of bins. We had to order more. And they're coming, and when we get those, then we're going to do the exchange. We can't take the bins away from the citizens and the residents without being able to replace them.
That's the first I've heard that that was an issue. So have not heard that you guys didn't have enough bins. So when do you think you're going to have all the bins?
Manny, when's the date for them coming? Mid-December.
So what is, I mean, we need to be crystal clear then. So if people don't have wear bins today, they should be using the Republic bins as if they were wear bins. Is
Correct.
that-
I've been telling people that from day one. I'm the vice president for customer relations. So when they do call in,
You're Kevin then?
I am Kevin.
Ah, the infamous Kevin. All right.
How am I
Mysterious
infamous?
Kevin.
Nice to meet you.
So.
But I don't avoid any of the questions when they call.
Oh, no. I've heard very good things that you.
Oh, good.
That you, yes, we haven't
Lead with
met
that.
Kevin though. But no, I think the issue that people are having is they're confused because the initial message from Ware was put your Republic bins out on the street. We're going to pick them up. Don't use them. Use the ones Ware gave you. And now I've got a message from one gentleman saying, you know, I'm getting red carded by Ware, for lack of better terms, because I'm mixing refuse in the bins that I have because I don't have the right bins from Ware, and you guys aren't picking up his bins because he's mixing stuff.
We are not separating anything yet. I don't know where the urban legends are coming from.
This is a very respected gentleman in the community.
I understand that.
That has said that he's getting cards from your driver. There's a note placed on his green waste bin. He refused to pick it up because he had mixed trash in with the green waste because he didn't have the trash container from Ware yet. And he wasn't using the Republic one.
As soon as we get those phone calls, we put to rest that that's not happening yet. We right now are empathetic that the residents, when they were working with Republic, they were not separating the trash. It was all combined. Organics, recycling, and everything was all combined. We're telling everybody, we're not doing that yet. That is not even on our radar. Well, it is on our radar. We're hoping to have that being established in December. But right now, we're not penalizing anybody. We're not fining anybody. But if there was a message put on there, the only thing that I heard feedback from some of my work associates is that they're a little bit heavy. Sometimes some people put concrete into them, or some people were putting manure into them. That was causing them to be heavy. But as far as a cross-contamination, we're handling all that right now.
Okay, this note came to me on the 3rd.
Okay.
And it was from an address up on Sharpless. So I
If
don't
you
know
want
if
to
you've
forward
got-
that email to me, that'll be my first agenda tomorrow, and I'll take care
Why
of that.
don't you and I, are you going to stay till the end of the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you and I just chat? And I'll
Absolutely.
give you the address and we can just get it worked out because
Absolutely.
I trust that this gentleman's telling me the truth, so
But if it was the 3rd, maybe that was resolved?
That one's already been resolved.
this has been resolved? Okay,
Yeah, I had heard that was resolved,
okay.
but I got the email too.
But I just want to make sure that, you know, obviously it's, and I didn't know this, So it's news to me that we've changed, that we had issues with the containers, that we now need to wait until another month before we do this. So I mean, you guys sent a mailer out at the beginning of this period telling people what to do. I think for those addresses that you should know what addresses don't have bins, right?
Yes, sir. Well,
So-
part of the problem is we're trying to help people with their cost. And when we're going into the community and we're finding out that they have 3-yard bins that they're putting everything into,
Yeah.
what I spend endless amounts of time communicating to people, trying to let them know, I'm going to give them options.
Yep.
Instead of having a dumpster, they're going to have a 4-cart system. And it's depending on what their needs are. If they need more organics, we'll give them more organics. And it's far more affordable for the residents to do the carts. And so many people have made changes from them, from going from the dumpster to the carts.
No, I understand that, and thank you. I've gotten very positive comments about you in particular.
Oh, thank you.
Taking the time to go over those options with people. Not that they like the result, because it's costing them more than what Republic was charging, and I understand why that's happening, right? Because you guys are actually going to comply with the law, and maybe that wasn't happening before. But where I was going was for the folks that still needs bins,
Yes.
and have not had the Republic bins picked up, how hard would it be, since we're going to wait another 4 weeks? And I think you want to make sure that at a date certain, all the bins get put out that need to get picked up, because I know mine aren't sitting out in the driveway because I live on a private road and no one can get by when all the trash bins are sitting out. Mine are behind a gate again. So I think for those folks that the bins haven't been picked up, we probably need to get some type of communication out to them saying, on this date, we're going to come by and pick up your bins, make sure they're out.
Okay.
I think that's not too hard to do, right?
No, it's not.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I'm down in Santa Ana, and I'm picking up the phone answering it. I have not driven through the city of La Habra Heights, except for when I was here and last week at the football game.
Yeah.
And
So, just after the meeting tonight, drive up Hacienda, and you can see all the Republic cans out along Hacienda Road that have
And
not
I know a
been
couple of
picked
my
up.
associates are out there daily. I know Manny's out in the fields all the time. We'll make that a priority, and I'll communicate with Grace and Rafferty about our status update for that.
Okay.
Okay?
So number one, like I said, very positive comments about, from several people that I've dealt with about you in particular, helping them through
Thank
these
you.
issues. Like I said, I get countless calls from people because my number got put out there as someone that can help them with this issue. And it's around not having, several people, I have not gotten my wear bin yet, so there's a lot of people up on Skyline.
Maybe you could give him the information after.
I'm getting the hook,
And
so.
I'll be glad to take care of all that stuff.
I just wanted to make sure that all the calls that I've gotten are addressed tonight, because I've committed to people that at tonight's meeting, I'd be meeting with Ware, and I promised them that these issues would get heard by Ware, so I can do it offline.
I've given my direct line out to people. You're probably all familiar with a resident named Tina. I spent about an hour and a half on the phone when I was driving home the other day addressing her concerns, and she's actually really pleasant to speak to. Not here tonight. She had dog issues. That's how much I talked to her.
Maybe you should tell all those people couldn't they email him directly? The ones you're talking to, at least?
I do give them Kevin's number, I give them Manny's information.
But maybe they should email.
But they feel like, especially the bin issue, that it's not getting addressed. And I'm hearing now the why, so we didn't know the why, so now it's good to understand that, I get it, you can drive down some streets and you can see half a dozen green tops.
The three of us, myself, Manny, and Harry, are in group emails. As soon as one of your residents texts one of us, all of us know what's going on.
Okay.
And one of us responds within an hour. Me, a little bit longer because I have a lot of emails to get through.
I think some people just don't like the answer.
Okay.
I agree with that, but I think more and more people are getting used to it, and they understand that we care. We're adopting ourselves into working within the community, and people are liking that we are not avoiding it, at least with me, Manny, and Harry.
I'm good. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, I'm waiting. Yes, I understand. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And I have heard good things about you too, so.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Now I'll open it up to public comment. Claudia Schlashland?
About the trash again. I was here last month, and Mr. Manning, he came the next morning, was very nice. He said he'd call me then the next day. I never heard from him. I came over, talked to Grace again. She gave me Kevin's number. I called him twice. He never returned the call. I don't have the cans. My neighbor got all her cans, carts, whatever. So I'm still with the trash issue. And I'd like to ask the city, because Grace said they're going to have like a trash day where you can bring the trash. So I've had to cut back because of the expense. I already have 20 55-gallon bags filled up with yard stuff because I've had to cut back because I can only have 2 yard waste cans. So instead of having that only twice a year, maybe we could have it every 3 months because, I mean, honestly, people are not going to keep their yards up. There's a lot more dry stuff that's going to be around because a lot of us have had to cut back. So I'm looking forward to the dump day at the park because by then I'll have 50 or 60 bags, I'm sure. The other thing is the drone. A drone came to my house and scared me, came very close. As I was working outside, I watched it. It went to my neighbor to the north of me, was scoping that house out. Came back to my house, scoping out, and I called my neighbor to ask her, you know, what to do because I said I'm so violated right now. So anyway, it took off. The next day, the same drone came back. Came to my house, came down to my roof line, was just so close to me because I was working outside. Went again over to the neighbor, to my neighbor's house to the north of me, but also went then across east to that house. They didn't even know. They were scoping out that house because he's got a lot of tall trees and stuff. And so I was very uptight again because I just feel like they're scoping the place out to see, you know, what vehicles are there, you know, so that now they know I have 2 vehicles. If one's gone, they know nobody's home. And so I know there's cities that outlaw these drones. I know it wasn't insurance because my neighbor has different insurance than I do, so it wasn't that. I know it wasn't a realtor. We only have one house on for sale. We called the realtor and asked him if they had the drone out. The exact drone came 2 days in a row. So, and I got to tell you, to be honest, I came out with my firearm. It wasn't loaded, but I came out with it to intimidate them and make them go away, to leave me alone. I called the sheriff's department, and, you know, I said, can I shoot it down with a pellet gun? No, can't do anything. Can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. So, I mean, it's a violation of what they're doing, just sitting there right at my house watching I had to run in the garage to get away, you know, to feel safe. So that's something that I wanted to bring up because I don't know how much of that is going around up in the Heights. And with crime high and craziness going on in the world, it's kind of frightening. And so that's the other issue that I wanted to talk about. That's it.
Thank you.
Rafferty, have we got a commitment yet from where on the quarterly cleanups?
Not yet, as we're still working through that transition.
Are we going to have one by the end of the year?
Yes, by the end of the year, yeah.
All right.
So we can publicize at the end of the year for next year.
Well, no. I mean, are we going to have one this year, by the end of this year?
By the end of this year, I don't know. We'll have to have that conversation a little harder with where.
All right.
I do know that I called for a big item, and they pick up 5. Is that correct? If you have a big item, pick up 5 items twice a year. but you have to reserve it and you can't add or subtract from the pickup.
Send out the proper trucks and proper routing.
Okay,
Just ask everybody to provide us with the accurate information as possible. You can pick up more items, charge after 5 items.
thank you. Okay, anybody else have any closing items on trash here? So we'll move to 15, rainy season preparation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is just a little bit update as we start moving into the rainy season here and looking at potential storms and seeing where the weather goes for this upcoming rainy season. The staff here has been out looking at drains and clearing drains and working to make sure stuff is cleaned and cleared ahead of the rainy season. You can kind of see attached to your report here are a couple of before and after photos of some drains in the area, so you can kind of see the ones that need a little more work, a little more attention. Angel typically will spend a little more time there to get things a little more cleaned up, add some sandbags and some other things to it to make sure that those drains will be able to remain functioning in the winter rainy season for that. So just a little bit of example there for everybody to kind of see some of the work that staff does when we're out looking at drains. We do look at, clear, and inspect the drains. We also do have our catch basins cleaned through the county. They do it twice a year. They do a wet season and a dry season cleaning of all of our catch basins. So those have been completed so far this year. We also do have sand available for residents, sandbags. So we do keep the sandbags here at City Hall. They're located right outside of the front lobby doors. You can see a little picture in the staff report there is where the sandbags are. The sand is located at the park. So in the lower parking lot of the park, so the dirt lot closest down to the riding arena is where you'll find the sand. From there, we are having additional sand delivered, so we're ready and prepared for this upcoming rainy season. So that will be a refresh of the sand. And we do have additional sandbags out here at City Hall. It's also a great time for residents to look at your drainage system. So look at your drains, your gutters, to make sure things are cleaned up and cleared, especially as we kind of start moving into a little bit colder winter weather here. People's leaves are going to be falling off the trees, and we've had a lot of wind, so pine needles have blown off pine trees and collected in areas. So it's a great time of year to get out and look at those ahead of the rainy season to be able to make sure that residents look at their drainage courses on their property. If they have any drainage devices related to like low impact development, those are cleaned and cleared and ready for the rainy season as we move into it. Obviously, we had a very wet rainy season last year that provided quite a bit of damage to the city. So as we move into this upcoming rainy season, we will be spending a little closer attention on our storms as things come and go, and we'll have additional resources ready for the winter rainy season. So we will be able to address and respond to anything quickly. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
So Rafferty, where we had damage to city roads from the rain and or adjacent property damage, have all of those been mitigated? Are we ready for this rainy season?
We're still working on a couple of areas. All the areas that have seen road damage, all of those road damages have been repaired. We've completed all that area. We've installed some berms along with those areas of repairs that we've done in the past. There's a couple of catch basins that we're still cleaning out as we move into the rainy season and doing a little more preparation on some of the other ones that saw significant amounts of mud and debris that have flowed downhill to get those cleaned up and make some extra precautions related to that mud and debris movement again in the rainy season.
So yes?
Yes.
They have been? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Any other questions? 16, strike team reimbursement.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item before you tonight, so as part of strike team and our reimbursement for costs associated to that, the city does have to have a resolution on file with Cal OES related to strike teams. We've last adopted a resolution in 2020. Typically, they're good for 3 years. Since we've seen a recent deployment for that, staff wanted to update the resolution. So we have a fresh resolution in place as we haven't seen a lot of need for strike teams over the last year or two, as there has been less fire activity, and we haven't necessarily had the staffing in place to be able to join some of those strike teams. So the item before you tonight is an updated resolution related to keeping our records with the state up to their need that it needs to be, as far as deployments for strike teams and reimbursements of costs associated with that. So it's recommended that City Council adopt resolution number 2024-29, establishing a portal coverage for all fire department personnel when deployed to an emergency, disaster, state of war, when declared by the governor under the Emergency Services Act. So you can see as attachment 1 is the resolution that is been updated with all of our current information and meets the state's requirements for that resolution. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Questions? Motion?
Make a motion that we accept resolution number 2024-29. Do I have to read the whole thing, or is that good enough?
Second.
Mr. Bergman?
Yes.
Englehart's a yes. Mr. Pespisa?
Yes.
Mr. Zazula?
Yes.
Item 17, Gateway Cities Council of Governments.
Thank you, Mayor. We do fall within a Council of Governments, or a COG area. It's called Gateway Cities. And we have recently had a meeting with their executive director. It's not something that we have been actively participating in the Gateway Cities over the last few years. So he wanted to reach out to the city staff and kind of talk about some of the things that agency does, looks out for possibilities for grants and other funding and other lobbying that they may be able to do on our behalf. So we had a very good meeting with their director related to that. I might hand it over to our interim assistant city manager to give you a little bit of information about some of the good things that the Gateway Cities Council of Governments does on behalf of their member cities.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Madam Mayor, members of the council, the COG is made up of 27 cities and unincorporated areas in the southeast area of LA County. The new executive director is Hector Della Torre, who's a former council member and mayor from the city of Southgate. He also served in the state assembly, and he held a variety of other positions, including chief of staff to the Deputy Secretary of Labor in Washington, D.C. The group was formed in 1996, and it has brought literally millions of dollars into Southeast area cities and other agencies to address the issues of transportation, environment, infrastructure, workforce development, housing, and homelessness, economic development, and health. I spoke with Mr. Della Torre again today, and I tried to get a little better handle on the scope of his organization. They currently have a $10 million annual budget. 1.5 of that goes to their COG overhead and staffing and so forth, and 8.5 million goes to direct services for member cities on those regional issues that I mentioned. They also have a number of special projects underway. Each year they influence millions of dollars in LA Metro spending on transportation projects and roads and so forth. The COG also has a broadband linkage initiative to bring high-speed fiber optic cables to the cities in the southeast area, and they have $104 million coming to them for that project. They also have a climate funding readiness project that helps cities receive funding for multi-benefit sustainability projects and programs that can be eligible for climate investment funding. The COG also assists cities with housing issues and provides financial assistance of $1 to $2 million to developers of affordable housing through a housing trust fund that they operate. Basically, it's a very active organization. It's been out there for many years, and it's done a very good job working on projects such as the I-5 freeway, the Long Beach Freeway expansion project, and other things that keep Los Angeles region moving. Mr. Delatorre believes that the organization can provide a beneficial assistance to us in dealing with these larger agencies on the county, state, and federal level and obtaining money for roadway improvements and other types of things. Membership in the, we are included in the boundaries of the COG, but we are not actively participating as a member at this time. To do so, you have to pay a $10,000 a year membership fee, and then you get the benefits of participation. Staff believes that this organization can offer us assistance in dealing with these larger groups that sometimes we have difficulty being heard by. For instance, last week he had a meeting with the director of the housing department for the state, and we had talked to him about our situation with the housing element. He had a conversation that, what he said today, primarily focused on the lawsuit that was filed against the city of Norwalk, but he's well aware of our issues and plans to bring that up with state officials also. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer them.
Are there any questions? Any comments?
I know it's been some time ago when we were members of it, and it was dropped out at that time because the most of it was transportation issues that really weren't applicable to our city, and it was more in the corridor, the 710, I guess it was, the Long Beach freeway area down there. And I don't remember what we're paying back then, but is there, I don't know if we can get in for.
It was approximately 7,000.
7,000 back then. I mean, I don't know if things have changed or not, but back then, that's the reason that we dropped out of it.
Well, I remember back in the 90s when I was on the council, we never got any benefit. We couldn't see any benefit from this. And as I look over what they do, it doesn't seem to apply much to our city. Is there any chance they would lower the fee? Small?
We haven't had that conversation with them related to potentially a reduced fee for us. We had a good meeting with their executive director, kind of talking about some of the things that they do in our region and some potential benefits that may be able to come down to, we may be able to take advantage of or have some help in doing. So we just want to bring that information to the council to give you an idea, a refresher on the Gateway Cities COGS. It has been quite a bit of time since we have been a member of that organization, and we can begin the conversation of exploring whether or not we'd like to look at potentially joining again.
Do they charge the same fee to every city?
Yes, I believe so.
Because, for example, SCAG, another regional group, charges a different fee depending upon how many people are in the city, roughly. So we don't pay a whole lot for SCAG. The other thing I noticed is that on the 32 positions on the 32 members on the board of directors, there's 3 members of the county board of supervisors, and there's the city of Long Beach has 2 representatives, the mayor plus another council member, plus the Port of Long Beach has representation also. So it seems to me that it's kind of stacked a little heavy toward the big boys, so to speak.
Each supervisorial district that is located in the Gateway City area is represented.
Yes, I understand that, yes.
Any other comments or questions? Guess we'll move on to,
Are we going to do it or not?
Maybe if a council member wants to look into or put together an ad hoc committee to look into it further, perhaps. I'm not inclined to join today.
I'm sorry?
So I'm just wondering, what direction are we giving staff? To do it, not to do it?
Well, I just don't see the potential. My experience back then, I mean, that was a long time ago, is that they didn't offer anything, and I think we dropped out. And then Mr. Bergman's saying the same thing happened in the 20-teens, right?
I mean, we're
And
hearing,
$10,000.
I'm just saying, we're hearing from staff they perceive a benefit.
Well, yeah, but when you look at this, okay, well,
So-
what would the benefit be? Their articulated benefit is
Each
they
year,
would speak on our behalf with the housing department? Is that?
they maintain communications with the housing department and can speak to them informally or more formally.
But isn't the purpose of this organization transportation issues?
Yes. Well, that's one of the primary focuses of it, because that has involved literally billions of dollars coming into the Southern California area. The idea that I think transportation from our standpoint is an area we should explore with them a bit more. If it's only to put more bus lines along bus routes, that may not help us. If they can help us get our streets, or at least some of our streets, funded for improvements, then that could be well worth it.
Well,
because what they do is they put together a list. I think he said he had about 21 street projects that he was looking at for a submittal to MTA in the coming year. So what we would have to do is get on that list with a project that would work.
are we eligible for MTA funds?
Well, they can say no to us more easily if we're standing alone. If we're standing as one of 27, we can influence the policies that they have.
Do you have a position here?
I'm just thinking that staff is making the recommendation that we join. Do we want to put a motion out there and see where council is at on this, or is it just continue to research? I just want to make sure we give clear direction to staff, that's all.
Well, I wouldn't be interested in joining unless they lowered the fee or really could prove that we would get some benefit out of this. I mean, it's theoretical, but.
So direction to staff is to come back maybe next meeting with a list of tangible benefits to the city of spending $10,000? Or do we just not believe that there's a benefit at this time in joining?
Well, I don't see the benefit based on the list of items. What they focus on is lead and support legislative efforts to reverse the effort of inequitable policies that disproportionately impact communities in the gateway cities, equitable workforce development, equitable technology funding,
Don't forget environmental
creation of
justice.
high-quality open spaces. Well, revitalization of urban communities, remediate contaminated sites, and environmental justice.
Yes.
It just doesn't seem to pertain to us. But if you fellows want to go.
I'm just want to make sure we give staff clear direction. I'm not saying one way or the other. I just want to make sure we tell staff what we want them to do with this.
Why don't we see if we can lower the fee on it, because we're such a small little city, and come back with specifics that apply to our city, that there's possibilities, some funding. When I went to those meetings years ago, and that's a long time ago, and maybe things have changed and things, but it was transportation corridor, and that's all that was discussed, all the meetings was transportation.
Okay. So
The
I
other
think that's the
thing is-
direction is, we don't want to pay the full price, so what, 5,000?
No, I mean, the other thing is, we are already in contract cities and League of Cities and
SCAG.
SCAG,
There's
and
3 groups already.
So it
and
sounds
it's
like,
hard to get people.
it
no,
sounds like at this time, we're not in favor of moving
Well,
forward.
I'm personally not, but
Sounds like Norm's not.
Well, I'm always interested in new information, but at this moment, if I had to vote for it, I'd vote no.
I mean, I suppose if they let us in for $2,500, maybe we could go to a few meetings and see what happens, but
That might be an idea. Maybe drop in and spy on what's going on.
I don't think they're,
Yeah, I would just say, let's table it and
yeah, let's table it.
not, I don't think it's right
The other
to
thing
go
is,
negotiate a fee.
I've been
like
trying to get some movement in grants, and we haven't gotten anywhere on grants. And till we get organized and start looking seriously, I think it'd be better to table it. Okay? Is that our motion, or is that an agreement?
Do we need a motion, or is it just, we just table it? Okay.
Okay, so we already did 18. 19, project updates.
And we'll just give you a quick update here. Obviously heard from Chief Martin there, some information related to the Type 1 fire engine. We just received some additional photographs of the engine in production. We will having staff go out and doing the inspection. I believe they're scheduled to be there December 1st to look at it and do final inspection before the engine is sent our way. For that, we heard from Ware today about some transition-related issues to solid waste. Assistant City Manager and myself have been working on the RFP for the ADA ramp and stairs at the park, going on from there. The signal at Avocado Crest Road, we have been in back and forth with some communications related to the contractor. It looks like now they will begin construction in January. Out on the road. So in January, you'll start to see work on the intersection there related to the ramps and all of the conduit runs and the footings for the poles and associated equipment start in January. So we'll see some movement out there. So expect to see some traffic delays as they put up traffic control related to all of the construction related to that aspect of it. Measure W, we're working to try to get some of those things put into place and in action. And resolving final plan for the regional project for that one. The guardrail, we have actually been in communication with the county to see if they would be able to process the RFP for us and do the design work for it. So we're just waiting to hear back from our representatives over there at the Public Works Department about the ability to do it and or costs associated with that RFP for the guardrails on Hacienda. If you have any questions, happy to answer them for you.
Any questions?
So where are we at with the ramp at the park from East Road up into the park? How's that progressing?
So this past week, Mr. Dykier and Gerald, our city engineer, and Grace met out at the park to look at the actual location of where it will be going. From there, they each had an idea of what they thought it should be and how it should be constructed, came up with a thought process of how to construct that ramp into the park for equestrian ramp to it. So since we have some direction forward on that, I'm actually working with one of our residents to put together a plan that I can bring back to the council for council to approve so we can move forward in the construction.
Okay. Do we need anything?
Not at the moment. Once we have a plan, we can bring it back so the council can approve the plan and provide us some design immunity for the actual work to it, and then from there we can move forward with the construction aspect.
What about the rest of the work at the park? So I know that we've got some piecemeal stuff going on, but we had also talked about a tree replacement plan and maybe some work in the parking lots to address the fact that we cut down a bunch of trees and
At the moment, we are working on trying to finalize the design build RFP for the ADA ramp so we can get that one in progress and moving, so we can spend the ADA dollar or the CDBG dollars and the other funds and get that put into place before the next concert season. From there, and then working on trees as the secondary to that at the moment.
Timeline?
As with everything we have going on at the moment, I don't think I can give you an exact date as to when I'd be ready to plant trees in the park.
Be gentle, John.
Well, he knows why I'm asking.
I know, I mean,
He knows why I'm asking.
And I love trees, but we do have a lot going on. We've had a lot going on. Okay, you're a good council person. All right, thank you. Anything else? Or shall we move on to individual council member information items? Or attendance reports? Anything? Public comments not on the agenda? I guess we're adjourned. Thank you.